This is Michelle with Paper Stamping. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today, where I'm going to show you how to make this adorable little bee card with that die cut frame. If you're new to my channel, I'm all about things paper crafting, and if that sounds like something that you would benefit from, make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you get notifications of future videos. Now let's go ahead and jump into making our card using this stamp set from Sunny Bee Studio and the die from Cat Scrappiness. I did speed this up and do a voiceover so that it's not taking so long. I'm using my new bone folder from Tonic Studios, and I really like the way it feels, and that curved edge just keeps me from damaging my cardstock, but I get a really good score. Now this frame is from Cat Scrappiness, and I love it's got those little panels, and then the pieces that are die cut out will make great background matting pieces for sentiments in the future too. I'm going to use my Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and I'm just going to stamp down that beehive there. While I'm doing this stamping, which I think is pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing here, I'm using that frame as a guideline so I know that I've got things in the right spot. But I want to give you a tip on using dies like this frame die. It's got some long straight edges, and your die cutting machine doesn't really like those going through all at once. You're going to tend to hear some popping or crackling from your plates and as it goes through the rollers. So here I'm showing you that on the video. So go through with a corner coming first. So just kind of put it slightly off edge and have the corner go through first, and that's going to help a lot with that that noise. Now I have never actually broken a die, a plate, or my machine, but boy, I don't like that sound, and I just feel like it makes it a lot better on your machine and not make it work so hard. So the sentiment I chose to use is the just because it's always nice to have those kinds of cards around. And I am going to bring in a little bit of scrap paper there. Probably a post-it note would have been a little bit better fit to put the little tail on there, the little trail. Because while I don't mind if these are crossing from one panel into another, in fact, I kind of like how that brings them together, I didn't want it going outside of my actual frame. So you can use either end of this little trail. You can put the loop towards the end or closer to the little bee. And because they're photopolymer, it's really easy to line those up. And there I have one of those little tails going through. All right. So that is our stamping all done, but I'm going to do a little bit of coloring on this, and these are so easy to color. I did bring in my Stampin' Up! Stampin' Blends alcohol markers. I'm working on building up some Copic markers. I love those as well, but I really love the Daffodil Delight color, and I thought it was perfect for this card. So I'm coming in with the light, and then I am going to bring in the dark. And I'm actually going to do some shading under there just to give it a little bit of highlighting. And then I'll come back in with my light and just kind of blend that out by going over the entire hive. So very quick and easy blending there. I am not a color expert or coloring expert. It's something that I strive to do better at. I'm bringing in my dark smoky slate, I believe is the one that I used for this, to fill in that center. But if you're looking for somebody to follow, Sandy Almack is excellent with coloring, and somebody that I hope to sit down and just watch some videos and play at sometimes so that I can get a little bit better at that. But we all have to start somewhere, right? So I'm using the bullet nib end, and that's the other thing I really like about these markers is I have that fine tip to get into places, and I'm just using that gray again. I could have used, and come back in with the dark Daffodil Delight. I thought about the light, I decided in the dark. You know, I could have used a black for the belly or the body of the bee, but I wanted to still be able to see the lines of the stamp, so I just chose to do a gray, and I think that that effect works well with these. And I love how quick and easy these are to color. Did want to bring that gray back in and do some little dots where those antennae are, just to make them pop a little bit more. You just want to be real careful with those because it's really tiny. So a very light touch on that does wonders. And I'm going to bring in my Wink Stella. If you're not familiar with Wink Stella, it's just a glitter pin. Basically, you just brush this on, and it's really hard to see, and I don't think the camera picked that up, but it does give you a little bit of shimmer. So you just brush that right over the areas you want that shine on, and it's just like a really thin coat of glitter basically on there. And I went ahead and did the little wings of the bees as well. And I did do some die cutting and coloring of some of the bees. There are die cuts that go with this stamp set, and for the bees, the hive, and the there's a little heart too. And I got a little bit too much glue here. I'm trying out this art glitter glue. I love a liquid glue, and I've heard a lot of people say great things about this. I do find that it's very, very light touch with the pressure, which is good for just not wearing out your hands from doing a lot of card making, because I do a lot sometimes in a day, and I like that. I just have to get used to that being such a light touch compared to the Tombow glue that I was using. But after I've played with it some more, I will give you guys a little bit more comparison and let you know my thoughts on that. So these ones that I die cut out, I just wanted to do a little bit of dimension on the card by raising some of those bees up, and I did 4 of them. I find it easier to go ahead and stamp those out. Couple reasons. One, it lets me know exactly where I'm going to put the little trail. The other thing is I've got these, and I kind of decide where am I going to put the pop-up bees based on if I don't like the way one of them stamped out initially, that's the one I'm going to pop up. So using little mini dimensionals for the bodies of the bees. I love these because I don't have to worry about them sticking out from the sides, and they're just going to give just enough dimension to pop those up. Let me know if you like a lot of dimension on your cards, or do you like to keep them pretty simple. I forgot to put the little antennae when I colored those in, so I'm going back and just adding those little dots on the antenna of those die cut pieces so that they're consistent with the others. How can you not smile when you look at these little smiling bees? So here I was deciding whether to add some bling. So I thought that the yellow from these Gina Marie, what are they, like a clear enamel dot, I guess is the best thing. Whether I wanted to use some of those, I thought the color was great, but I didn't know if I wanted to add more bling. So let me know in the comments below, bling, no bling, what do you think? I decided against the bling, and just to keep it kind of simple. Now, if you were going, that's going to bleed through because you're using alcohol markers, you're right. It did bleed through onto the back of the card. Not horribly, but enough that I decided I didn't like it. And here is where your adjustments come when you are crafting. Don't ever throw those cards away. I like to keep things real, so I will show you my mistakes quite often on and how I kind of adjusted to fix my cards. So I'm just trimming that down until I'm happy with a very thin layer on there, and I didn't really do measuring. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and I thought about trimming down that one side a little bit more with some scissors, and then I realized that it's so close and it is going to be a white on white, and so I really didn't feel like it was necessary to be that 1/16 of an inch difference on things, that it would just kind of blend in, and I think it did in the end. Give me a thumbs up if you take your cards and adjust because of mistakes. I think we want to salvage our materials as much as possible. So, and I really liked actually adding, you know me, a little bit more dimension by putting these double-sided foam tape pieces on the back of this panel. And you do need to be careful if you're doing too much dimension, because you're going to have to hand cancel it when it goes through the postage, but that's okay. I don't mind spending a little bit extra for the card that I really want to send, or I make those ones that I hand deliver as well. So the hardest part of these foam tapes for me is getting that piece off the back. I struggle with that every time, and I didn't have my pick tool over there, so I had to do it the hard way. I'm just going to center that down and I am done with this card. So I really like it. I hope that you enjoyed this too and you found this tutorial helpful. Let me know if you have any things that you'd like me to answer in future video tutorials. And if you haven't subscribed, do that below. Check out Kat's website. Until we meet again, grab your paper, stamp, and ink and do something creative.